Most of what I'm going to say today is certainly going to apply to Yahoo and MSN and Ask and AOL and other search engines. This presentation definitely has a Google focus, but there's not a whole lot I'm going to say today that doesn't apply to MSN as well, to Bing. And in fact, what most people have found is that for whatever reason, if you are actively trying to rank your site, it's much easier to get it up there in Bing than it is in Google. So that's why we're focusing on Google and why it's important to be on top of Google. This is called a heat map. Think of it like your weather map. It represents where people click. In general, about 43% of people click on that #1 ranking on page 1. So most importantly, this all has been designed by a lot of people with PhDs who like to think they're really smart. It's designed to be opaque. There's a couple reasons for that. One is if it was really easy, like it was 10 or 12 years ago, then lots of bad people could do bad things and everything would be very manipulated and of little value. The other reason is as we've gotten better and more sophisticated at organizing information, it's just sort of naturally grown out of that. So a misconception I want to address is most web designers out there, they don't know anything about this stuff. And they can be really fantastic designers and give you a site that looks great and performs really well, and it's going to have, in many cases, zero of what we talk about today. So if you're looking at expanding or designing your site, don't just presume that because someone, they're the web design guy, they may not have any knowledge in this. So you definitely need to bring in or look for external expertise in how to get a page, how to get a site designed so that it's going to do really well in Google and other search engines. And the main reason, and let's get really into it, is you don't rank well because you're not trying. You don't have a goal in mind that you're going for, and understanding what you're trying to achieve, as in all things, helps you get there. Patience is really key here. Almost nothing you're going to do is going to take effect overnight. It's not even going to take effect for weeks, might not even be for months. Another important thing is age is a really key factor. Age sort of means established. You're not just some guy that threw up a website about car insurance quotes. Age means that you must be around. You have what's called authority, which we'll talk a little bit about. There's some ways, but it's pretty hard to buy age. It just sort of comes. What's really important is, and again, talking about search engine optimization is just a big part of this, but you have to align what you're trying to accomplish with your search with what your website is trying to accomplish, and that's a whole other presentation. But bringing people, if you're really focused on ranking for words like buy or discount or cheapest or very action-oriented words, and your website doesn't sell anything, there's a disjoint there, and the flip side goes as well. If you're selling stuff and you're ranking for stuff that's more informational or learn about, that's going to impact your conversion on your sales as well. So really important that you align your SEO goals with what your website and your business goals are. And a lot of people fail to do that, and we'll get a little bit more into that for sure. You want to really focus, and what we're going to hone in on today is identifying who your prospects are online, what they're searching for online, and that's what you can rank for. And the really, really big secret that I'm excited to share with you is that is a much smaller group, it's much easier to rank for, and it's much, much, much more valuable. You want to be focused on people within 10, 25, 50-mile radius. And what's really important about that is, again, it's much easier to rank for, and these are really your customers. So really the key to this strategy, one leg of it is focusing on what matters, who are really your clients, and getting to really achievable things, and not being blinded. Yeah, it'd be really cool to have 2.2 million people see your webpage every month, but 99.5% of them are worthless to you anyway. There are people in Vietnam learning about TurboTax. So the key is coming up with goals for your keywords, what you want to rank for that are worthwhile to you. It's not just a one-shot deal. And so a lot of people say, you know what, I want to rank for Pleasant Valley Dentist or Oakland Dentist, and I did it, that's great. But what you lose sight of is there's another 50 terms around that where now I've got this great foundation, and it's actually incrementally easier to rank for those as well. So don't make your goal just to rank for one term and then consider that the win if and when you're able to get that #1 spot. It's a process that just keeps expanding, and you've got to start off by putting yourselves in your searcher's shoes. Think about what you offer, and when your clients come in and your customers, how are they trying to find you? What is it exactly that they want? Are they coming to Sipan because they want a dentist? Are they coming because they're having tooth pain? Are they coming because they need a root canal, because they have yellow teeth, because they need a dentist for their kids, because they need a dentist who takes insurance? Whatever it may be, you have to really think about how are they trying to find you? Next, think about geography. You know, are you focused just on San Francisco? Are you focused just on a neighborhood? Are you California? Are you Bay Area? Think about where you serve and what people are looking for. If you're in a local business, think about how far are they willing to come. Is it a 5-mile business? Is it a 50-mile business? How are they trying to find you? Think about some vernacular stuff. I call that place across the Golden Gate Bridge Marin. A lot of people call it Marin County. And so in terms of search, there's a big difference in that. And you probably want to be in both places. Key thing is when people say a keyword, it's very rarely a word. It's generally a phrase. It's generally 2 to 4 words. There's certainly ones longer than that. As you get longer and longer, you get fewer and fewer, which can be valuable. But you want to try and keep it to 2, 3, maybe 4 words. That is kind of the most common lengths of what people search for. And again, if you're at 1 or 2 words, you run the risk of being too broad. You're up there in that dentist category where it doesn't really say who you are. There's an annoying trick to turn off Google personalization. If you type in a search, if you type in house painting, type search on Google, it's going to give you results. If you then go up to that URL, it's going to be really long, go all the way to the end on the right. If you type in ampersand PWS equals 0, ampersand P as in personal, WS equals 0, and hit return, it will then show that search with your personalization turned off. The keyword stuff is really the core, and this is the stuff that nobody teaches you, and frankly, to some extent, this is the secret sauce. It's really understanding and investing and continuously researching the keywords and understand why people are coming and why customers are coming and prospects are coming. Again, let's try and get out of the visitor mindset. Why buyers are coming to your website. The big idea that Google had was this concept of authority. And authority means if I tell you to read a book, you might say, oh, that's interesting. If a librarian tells you to read a book, you might go check it out. If Oprah tells you to read a book, we're all going to go buy it. And so it's this concept of not everyone is created equal. There are different levels of authority out there in the world. And the more authority is pointed out at your site, which is the more authority is pointed at your site, the more important it must be. Really importantly, especially as you first maybe more aggressively dip your toe into this, is to act naturally. It's Google's court, and they will take their ball and go home. So, you know, when you hear from the guy that promises to get you #1 in 72 hours doing something that sounds really weird and sketchy and you don't understand, be careful, because, you know, they will knock your rankings down. They will kick you out. Some things you can get away with, but I would just advise caution. So let's talk a little bit about links. This is an actual link. Again, this is the HTML. This is all the code I'm going to throw at you. 2 big parts of this. This is the URL. This is where the link's going. This is the page. This is what's called the anchor text. The anchor text is what you see on the link. And this fits together really nicely if you're a search engine, because it says here's a page and here's what somebody else thinks it's about. And again, how much authority you have sort of depends how much weight I put on that. But the anchor text is really the most valuable. Well, the whole link is, but the anchor text is this big neon sign saying, go to this page, it's about this. Let me wrap up with kind of the 60-day plan. You know, talked about the goals and the keywords and what you're going for. Really, you know, that's what I want you to most come away with today. If you're not going for the right thing, you're never going to get where you want to be. And then key, just, you know, patience. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. You'll move up some days. You'll move down some days. Focus on your business more than the search, and really just commit to this. You know, if you're going to do it yourself, stand by doing 20 minutes a day. If you're going to outsource, you know, free's not free. So put a budget together. As I said, $1,000 a month for a few months can actually get you pretty far if you invest a little time in strategy and management. But just, you know, commit to getting there. Don't just walk out of here today, hopefully excited, and let this all go by the wayside.